Back to Me'ilot. Okay, we are holding by Yud Amud Bet, around 20 lines from the bottom, for 2 dots. Me'ilot. We send in the Mishnah the halachot of the Me'ilah, misusing kelim, things belongs to Hekdesh, to Bet HaMikdash. This halachot is not mentioned in the Torah. So Gemara says, Michtav Ketivan. You have a lot of pesukim in the Torah talk about this halacha incident of the Me'ilot. But you say there is not. Amar Rami Bar Chama lo nisecha. No, it's necessary. You know what it meant in the Mishnah? It's coming to teach me Ela lechaditznan. What we learn in the Mishnah of the Me'ilah. Gemara Me'ilah Chaf Amud Aleph talks about a Baal Habayit. I mentioned this case yesterday. I'm going to get it again. You have a person, the owner of the house, he's in charge. He had money that belonged to Hekdesh, to Bet HaMikdash. Let's say those days you could say, this money I put aside for Bet HaMikdash. The money becomes Hekdesh. Okay. Now, $200 in his pocket. Like me, I have money in my pocket, left pocket, shoes money, right pocket, you have anim money. So you have the money in his pocket that belongs to Hekdesh. Okay. Now, he made somebody shaliach to buy something for him. And by mistake, he gave him the money that belongs to Bet HaMikdash, Hekdesh. Hashaliach she'asa shelichuto. The shaliach did this shelichut, this being his messenger to do it. Baal habayit ma'al. Who is going to be the chayav? Who is going to be responsible to pay back to Hekdesh? The Baal habayit, okay, the one who gave the money to shaliach. What shaliach did, we consider who did it? Baal habayit, because shaliach adam kemoto. Whatever shaliach a person does, I appoint somebody to do something like I did it. Okay? Now, so we might ask, what's the difference? He has to give the money to Hekdesh anyway. No. If you use the money of the Hekdesh, or whatever belongs to the Hekdesh, you have to add 20% to it, right? Chomesh. Very good. So basically, it was $200. Now he used it for the things what is supposed to be used. You have to add how much? $40 to the $200. Very nice. So that's what he has to do. Huh? I have to bring a korban too. He has to bring a korban too. So he misused the money. He has to bring a korban. David, we're going over the what we said. Very good. You have a new member tonight. Okay. So you're talking about the person who sent the guy to buy something, and he used the money that belonged to Hekdesh. The Baal Habayit, the one who sent him, is going to be responsible for it. He had to add 20% to that money and bring a korban also. Okay? Lo asa shelichuto. Okay. What happened was, the Baal Habayit, he sent somebody to buy something. Let's say he sent him to buy sushi for him. And he went and he bought chicken, shawarma. He did not do what the Baal Habayit told him to do. Okay? What's going to happen now? Who is going to be in fault? Who is going to be the one has to pay to the Hekdesh? Because Baal Habayit told him to go buy sushi. He wanted and he bought shawarma. He didn't do his shelichut. He didn't do what the Baal Habayit asked him to do. Shaliach mo'al. Over here, who is going to pay? The shaliach. The shaliach going to be responsible. He has to add 20% to the money he used, belonging to the Hekdesh. And now has to make a korban too, not the Baal Habayit. V'chi asa shelichuto amay mo'al. I don't understand. So the question is, over here, וכי זה חוטא וזה מתחייב. So now, I think the question is like this. When you make somebody shaliach to do something, okay, he did it, I didn't do it. Why we charge, we make, in the first case, the Baal Habayit, the owner, has to pay and bring a korban. The shaliach did it. Who bought the sushi? The shaliach. Even though we say in the whole Torah kula, all the time, the shaliach adam kemoto, that's only bidvar mitzvah. But in the devar avera, when it comes to something that's a sin, you cannot make somebody shaliach. So in first glance, it seems like the shaliach should be the one who pays for it. Why we say in the first case that Baal Habayit told shaliach to buy me sushi, he went and bought sushi and came back, and by mistake he gave him the money of the hekdesh, who is going to be chayav? Baal Habayit, not shaliach. But who did it? Shaliach did it.
But the shaliach didn't know that this is the money from hekdesh.
Baal Habayit didn't know either. Baal Habayit didn't know either. This is what we discussed yesterday. When it comes to davar avera, something is a sin, I cannot make somebody shaliach to do a sin. I cannot tell you, go kill somebody and I get punished for it. It's your problem. Why you listen to him?
We saw here is an exception.
That's exactly what it is. Hainu, that's what it is in the Mishnah. Kahararin hatolim besara. This is something that in Torah is not mentioned. Chachamim, they did it for us. They explained to us. You see, if you read the Torah, everything, you think, what? Who's going to be chayav? Baal Habayit, because he made a mistake. Huh? I'm sorry. If you read the Torah, you think who's going to be mechuyav? Who has to obligate to pay? The shaliach. Shaliach, he spent the money. The Baal Habayit didn't spend the money. But we learn here from the Gemara Me'ilah Chaf Amud Aleph, Chachamim tell us, no, because Shaliach Adam Kemoto over here is not considered Davar Avera. Because when he sent him to go, who Shaliach should know? Shaliach didn't know anything about the Avera over here. I did what he told me to do. I thought it's regular money. So over here in this scenario, that's what it meant when the Mishnah says that we don't know all the halachot of the Me'ilah.
That's only when he gets exactly what he was sent.
Right, because he did the shalichut. Right.
Didn't find, he went to buy sushi, didn't find sushi, he saw shawarma, he bought shawarma, that's from his shikul dat.
Right. When I make you the shaliach, okay, when I make you shaliach, you're going to be my hand only you do what I told you to do. You don't consider my shaliach if you do whatever you want to do. Okay? Now, this is the first answer for this question we had. We're going to go further now. This was Amar Rami Barcham. Now, Rava said, V'chi mai kushya. Dilma, there's another question over here. Why do you compare this case? You say this case is understandable. The Torah doesn't explain. Dilma, maybe Shane Me'ilah. By Me'ilah, the halachot of the Me'ilah, misusing the kelim, the money, whether it belongs to Hekdesh, is different. Why? The Yalfa, we learn it, where do we learn it from? Chet miteruma. Gezerah Shava, of the two words we have. One chet was mentioned by, I think, teruma. One chet by Me'ilah. If you have the Pesukim over there, with Pesukim, I mentioned the Pesukim to you. One of them is talking about Me'ilah. He says, V'chat'a bishgaga mikodshe Hashem. That's talking about Me'ilah. The word chet is used. Then we have another Pasuk by Teruma, V'lo tis'u alav chet. So both of them has the word of chet. Ma hatam, just like in the case of the Teruma, shelucha shel adam kemoto. The shaliach, a person considering himself, afkan, when it comes to Me'ilah, sheliach shel adam kemoto. The shaliach of the person considered like him. By even bidvar avera. Because we have the gezurah shava. Okay? Now, you could ask a question. You have to ask a very good question. Where do you see in the terumah that you do a avera, you still consider the shaliach? There is shaliach bidvar avera in the terumah. Because we learn it from terumah, right? Very nice. Ein Sham. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. The good question. I don't think it helps. Just 1 second.
Bring example here, but it doesn't sound like avera.
What's the example?
המפריש תרומה מפירות חברו בשליחותו,
Okay.
תרומתו, תרומה כאילו הפריש אותם המשלח בעל החטא. That's not avera. He just did it for the...
I know, but you're using somebody else's fruit.
But it's not shaliach לדבר עבירה.
Why not? It's stealing.
Stealing. Okay, you have...
I make you shaliach to go to David's house and take away from his fruits terumah for my fruits.
Oh.
That's the case, no? If I understood it correctly.
המפריש תרומה מפירות חברו בשליחותו.
בשליחותו. שליחות הוא, the בעל הבית.
You are my friend.
Okay.
I am your shaliach. אני מפריש בשליחותך. You tell me take this food, give it as תרומה. It's like you gave the תרומה.
Okay.
That's what I understood. Maybe I understood.
It could be. I don't know the case over there. What's the case over there? Let's see Rashi here. I don't know. It's a good question. Over there, Gemara Kedushin is talking about the terumah, that this sheish shelichut betruma. Shelichut works by terumah. I don't think it's talking about doing avera over there.
So how can you learn from this to that?
Right.
The issue here was shaliach לדבר עבירה.
I think me'ilah could be different because the whole thing of the me'ilah is the avera. So if you learn the shelichut from there, you apply it over here, you have to say it works anyway, because the whole thing of the me'ilah is avera. If you're learning yesh shelichut be'me'ilah, that's what we're learning from terumah. Yesh shelichut be'me'ilah, therefore, if there is shelichut be'me'ilah, so the devar avera works. That's what it means. Okay, let's go further. So we go back to first step now. According to the Rabbah, why the Mishnah says that basically what we're saying over here, according to this, the Rabbah explained, you don't need to tell me about the Me'ilah. That's understandable. We learn it from Terumah. We go back to the first step now. Why the Mishnah says we don't know the halacha of the me'ilah? Which part we don't know? What's the case? It says over here, Rava answered, Lo nisrecha, we need it in the Mishnah. Ela lechitanya. But Tanya we have another case in the Gemara me'ilah, chaf aleph, amud aleph. As we mentioned before, about the case of the hekdesh, that the Baal Habayit sent somebody to do something and he did a mistake. What about at the time the shaliach went to buy something, niskar Baal Habayit, v'lo niskar shaliach? What about in a scenario that the Baal Habayit sent the guy to go buy something? The Baal Habayit remembered that money belonged to the hekdesh. It seems like he told the shaliach. Shaliach did not remember, I made a mistake himself. Shaliach mo'al. Understand why he told him or he didn't tell him? What's the case over there?
I think that he sent the shaliach already. The shaliach left to the shuk.
So what is it? Gemara says, "V'lo niskar shaliach."
The translation is lo sam lev shen shaliach.
Sam lev. So it means he knew. He knew about it. It seems that the shaliach, he knew about it.
And עבוד, in the bottom it says, התבהר שמדובר גם באופן שהשליח לא ידע מעולם שאמר שאין שליחות. It's also talking about a situation that he never knew that it's a question.
Rashi changed the Gemara. Rashi changed the girsa, the nosach, the version of the Gemara. It says, Niskar Baal Habayit. Baal Habayit, remember, Shen Shelektesh. Before the shaliach gets to the store to buy the sushi.
But he already left.
What's the case? What do you expect this guy to do? Poor guy. How can he know? The shaliach. Let's see. Okay, that's our question. Shaliach anya maka aved. What are we gonna do? He doesn't have money. What do you want me to do? And he doesn't know that his shelichut got cancelled already. Okay? Hainu kahararin hateluim b'sa'ara. That's what it means. That's what in this case, to teach you, in this case, shaliach gonna be chayav, not the Baal Habayit. That's what Rava is saying. It's very hard to understand this case of the. Before we go to Ravashi, maybe Ravashi asked that question. But I don't understand the whole thing. What this shaliach was supposed to do? He didn't know.
Well, they don't go deep into it. They just show us the difference between if Baal Habayit remembered or didn't remember. That there is two different dinim for this and for that, and you can't know it from the Mikra. You can only know it from Torah Shebe'al Peh.
So it says over here, you go through the Shas, you see over there, we were talking about the shelichut. Shaliach could cancel his shelichut, which means he chose this person at any time.
The sholeach. The
Sholeach.
person who sent.
Right. The sholeach could cancel it any time, even without telling the
So that's the
person
case.
who was sent. Okay.
He canceled the shlichut.
He canceled the shelichut. Now, whatever he does is gonna go on the shoulder of the shaliach. According to this, it means like this. We have Gemara Kiddushin. Gemara Kiddushin says, I could make somebody shaliach to make Kaddish Isha for me. Like Eliezer. You have Abraham, make Yitzchak shaliach to to Mekadesh to get a wife for Abraham. Before Yitzchak gets to the wife, to the Kala, Abraham canceled the Shalichut. I'm not subscribed anymore. That's it.
Cancel.
Yeah, cancel. When he does the Kiddushin over there, it's not going to work. All the Kiddushin, it's not going to work. Okay? That's what it's going to be. Okay? Over here also he canceled it. That's when Rava says that's the case. Now, who's going to pay for it? It's Miskan. This person, the Shaliach, that he did it. Even though he didn't know. Okay? That's going to be. Now, this is the answer of the Rava. That's why we need in the Mishnah to tell us certain scenarios that we are talking over here that basically is not mentioned in Torah. That's why the Mishnah says there are certain halachot of the Me'ilah that is not considered in the Torah. Okay. Amar Rav Ashi, my kushya. What's a kasha over there? What's the question? What's a chidush? Are you telling me that Shaliach has to pay for it? Dilma, maybe it's not the question. Midi da'ava amotzi me'ot hekdesh lechuli. So what we see over here, that basically we are learning over here, he wants to say, Rav Ashi to the Rava, we already know this halacha from the Torah. How? What's another case similar to this case? Just like somebody, he bought with the money of the Hekdesh, Beshogeg, and he has spent it for Chulin, something not Kodesh. Even though he didn't know this money is Hekdesh, he has to pay for it. So over here, same thing also. The Shaliach, even though he was cancelled by the Sholeach, the person who sent him, he is spending this money by Shogeg. Therefore, he has to pay. You don't need to have this exactly written in Torah. You could learn it from the guy who does this Beshogeg and spent the money. Just like a person, Beshogeg, not purposely, spent the money and he didn't know it belongs to the Hekdesh. Over here, Shaliach's the same case. Shalichut got cancelled. Now he's like he's on his own. You don't know. Of course you don't know. It's Shogeg. But who's going to be responsible for it?
You, the Shaliach.
The Shaliach going to be. So according to this, we're going back to the first step. Rav Ashi. Now what? What's going to be? We have to ask a question. Why do you need in the Mishnah to tell me we don't know all the halachot of the Me'ilah? Elamar Rav Ashi lo nisach. I know what I give you another case. Like this land we learned another case in the Gemara Me'ilah. Yutet Amud Bet. Natal even o gorash el hekdesh. Somebody took stone or a beam which belongs to Hekdesh, to the Beit HaMikdash. Okay? I don't know what he did with it. Hareze lo ma'al. He didn't do Me'ilah yet. There is no Isur. But, Netanoh lechavero. He gave it to his friend. Who ma'al? Who did the Me'ilah? The person who gave it to his friend. V'chavero lo ma'al. But his friend didn't do any avera. What does it mean over here? What's the case over here? Whatever he does with it, the second guy, the chaver, the friend, since it came chulin, chol, in the hand of the first person, who did the me'ilah? The first person. When I get it from my friend, which is the second guy, he took it from Hekdesh, I take it from him, already in his hand became chol. So he did the Avera, not me. Okay? Now, you could ask a question. Okay? This Mishnah is in the Gemara Me'ilah. Okay? Mikedi Mishchal Shagla Mali Hu Umali Chavero. What's the difference? Why second guy? He didn't do any Avera. But first guy did the Avera. So he says, that's why exactly the Mishnah, why our Mishnah meant. Hainu ke harari hateluim besara. We don't understand it. That's halakha. This is how you could ask on this halakha. It's not understandable. You need the Gemara to explain it for you, but it's not obvious from the Torah that the first guy is going to be chayav, not the second guy.
And also, he only gonna be chayav when you give it to him.
Right.
If he took it to himself,
it's not chayav
yet.
Right. I took the hekdesh. I'm not gonna be chayav, obligated, until I give it to the Avi. And Avi is not gonna be any responsible for anything. I'm gonna be chayav. That's what it is. What's the case over there? Is shogeg or mezid? I think it's mezid.
Mezid.
Over there is either purposely. That's the case. Now Gemara asks a question on Ravashi. Umay kushya. Dilma kede Shemuel. What do you need learn from there? Maybe that case, in the Gemara Me'ilah, it goes like Shemuel. What does Shemuel say? The Amar Shemuel, Hacham. You know what's the case? You know what's the case? That the first guy, is going to be Chayav, not the second guy. In the Mishnah of the Gemara Me'ilah, Begizbar Hamesuro lo Avne Binyan Askina. You know what I'm talking about?
The contractor.
No, not the contractor. The Gizbar. Who is the Gizbar? The collector. The person who collects money and is in charge.
Tax collector.
Is the one in charge of the money of the Beit HaMikdash. That's called the Gizbar. Okay? Now, what about him? What does Shemuel say? We're talking about that person who has the money of the hekdesh in his hand. Now, in this case, he has the avanim, the stones, whatever, the material of the Beit HaMikdash. He keeps them in his reshut, in his domain. Askinan, we dealing with the cholhecha demanecha birshuta didem mincha. First, we didn't give it to anybody. Anyway, he was keeping the things belonging to the hekdesh. When he gives it to his friend, that's the time he took it out from the reshut, the domain of the hekdesh. Therefore, he's going to be responsible. Therefore, it's understandable. It's logic. Like Shemuel, that's the case. We're not talking about the regular person who took it from the hekdesh and he gave it to his friend. According to Shemuel, this Gemara, this Mishnah in Gemara Megillah is talking about the Gizbar. Gizbar usually has the money of the material, what belongs to the hekdesh in his property. When he comes and gives it to his friend, he's going to be chayav. So there is no chiddush over here. So again, we go back to the first step. What does it mean in the Mishnah? We say that halachot of the Me'ilah is not explaining the Torah. Ela misefa. You know what? We're going to answer our Mishnah according to the Sefer. What does Sefer mean?
The end.
The end of the Mishnah that Rav Ashi mentioned before. What do we learn over there? He says over there, Bena'ah betoch beto hareze lo mo'al. This guy, we talked about him, and he took the beams or stones of the hekdesh. Imagine he used it to build the ADU in his house, okay? In his ADU. He didn't do the Avera of the Me'ilah. When he's gonna considers he's mechuyav, he has to responsible for it.
When he rents it out.
Ad sheyadur tachteha.
The gizber.
B'shaveh peruta. Huh?
The gizber.
The gizbar.
Gizbar.
Okay. Not everyone agrees he was a gizbar. Shemuel said that was a gizbar. But there's going to be a question now from the end of that Mishnah. We don't know it's gizbar or not. Okay. The end of the Mishnah says the person who took it from the hekdesh, he built something in his house with it. He's not going to be mechuyav. He's not going to be punished for it. He's not going to be obligated to pay for it or whatever. Avera is going to be done until he's going to go and live in there b'shaveh peruta. And he has hana'ah, enjoyment as much as shaveh peruta. Now, what's the question? It's not understandable. What's the chidush? Mikede, since shanu yeshanye, you change it. You know, when you want to use the beam or the stone, you change it to make it the building. Mali daru mi lodar. I don't understand. It logically doesn't make sense. Why he has to be chayav only he lives over there? Once I choose it and used it for the house and change it to shape it the way I want it, it shows I took it out from the domain of the Beit HaMikdash and used it for myself. Why the Mishnah says he's going to be chayav only he lives there? That's what it means exactly. Hayinu kehararin hateluim besara. That's the chidush. We need the Gemara to come and teach us. Very nice. Again, next one. I want to ask another question here. Umay kushya. That's not the question. That's not the chidush. Dilma, maybe the seifa we said about the guy who used it to build it in his building, he's going to be only chayav when he's going to live there. According to the Rab, the Amar Rab, what does the Rab say? The Mishnah is talking kegon sheinicha al pi aruba. What did he do? He did not change it. He did not cut it. The same way it was, the stone, the beam, he used it for something. Example, the Gemara says, over here, he put it for his aruba. What is aruba? It's something to close the hole in the house. Imagine you have a hole in the house, you get the wood from the hekdesh, from the Beit HaMikdash, and you put it on it.
You just lay.
Right.
You can
don't do anything.
You can take it at any time.
So
It's
now
not
that's not considered.
Yeah.
That's not considered using it. Idarbe in. Once he goes live inside that room and use that wood to close the hole, consider using it. Lo darbe lo. If he doesn't live there, he's not going to be responsible for it. He doesn't need to pay for it, and he doesn't do the avera until he uses the house. So again, we're going to go back to our question in our Mishnah. What does it mean that the me'ilah, halachot of the me'ilah, is not mentioned in Torah correctly? Briefly, it was mentioned. Now, Gemara gets to the answer now. We get to the answer. Ela le'olam. You know what? Gemara goes back. The best answer is like who? Kede Rava. What did Rava say?
If he regret, no? If he remember, then cancel the shlichut.
He canceled the shlichut. The one exactly we didn't like.
Yeah.
See?
The hardest one.
Right, the hardest one. You see how we have to channel your understanding according to the Torah? So that was the case. He canceled the shlichut. Who is going to pay for it? The shaliach. You had a question. What was your question? What was the question over there? A person also himself, he doesn't know. He spent the money for the chulin, he has to pay for it. Even though he doesn't know himself. Over here, same thing by shaliach, he didn't know. So he has to pay for it. Hatam, over there, in that case, we say, if you are shogeg, you didn't know and you spent it, you are going to be mechuyav. Mida yada de ika zuza de hektish. The owner of the money, he knew that he has some money in his domain that belongs to hektish. Ibaele le ayune. It was his problem. He had to pay attention, not spend it in the wrong way. Acha, by this case of shaliach, miyada. Shaliach, misken, nebach, he didn't know anything. He didn't know anything. He told me, get this money and go buy something. But I think the money belongs to the hektish. How should I know? The owner knew about it. That's why the Mishnah says, Hainu. That's what we're saying, that kahararin hateruim besara. The Mishnah says the halacha of the me'ilah is not completely explained. It's very, very, not so much mentioned in the Torah shebichta. Okay, very nice. Let's go to the next part now. We finished this one. We're gonna go to the next part. We said if you remember, in the Mishnah, we said the halachot Shabbat, Chagiga, Me'ilah, all of them considered like the mountains hanging on a hair. Okay? Over this, we says a Mikra Mu'at, Ba'alachot Merubot. We have so little Pesukim, verses, and so many halachot. Okay? Now, Tana, we learned the Braita, Negaim, what is Negaim?
Sarat.
Okay. Huh?
The thing from Sarah?
Sarat, right. Okay. The sickness of the Sarat. The Ohalot, what is Ohalot?
Tent.
Very nice. What tent? Tumat met inside the tent. Oh. If Chas v'shalom, somebody dies inside the tent, whoever inside the tent is going to become Tameh, right?
Everything inside the tent.
Oh, right. Mikra muad v'alachot merubot. We have the same thing in that Braita talking about Negaim and Ohalot. Our Mishnah says Shabbat, Chagigot, Meilot. We have a Braita, he says Negaim and Ohalot. So Gemara asks a question, Negaim Migra muad, Negaim Migra merubeu. We have so many Pesukim in the Torah talks about Negaim Sarat. Gemara says, Amara Papa, Hachiga. You know what's the Kavana? What does the Braita mean? Negaim Migra Merube V'halachot Muatot. Not we don't have so many, we have so many Pesukim. But a lot of halachot is not mentioned in the Torah. So many verses talks about Negaim, but we don't have basically enough information about the halachot. Ohalot migra muat, halachot merubot. Same thing by ohalot. But by ohalot, the difference is, it seems like we don't have so many pesukim, and it has so many halachot that we don't know. Umay nafkamina. What do you tell me? What are you teaching me over here? What we learn from here that you told me? Im istapeka lach miltam benegaim ayin bekiraim im istapeka lach miltam behalot ayin bematniti. Now we said if you paid attention, for negaim we have so many pesukim. For aholot, okay, or ohalot I better say, ohalot we have not so many pesukim, even though we have a lot of halachot. Okay, maybe I didn't say it correctly. Before we said the negaim has so many pesukim, but the halachot have not so many halachot mentioned in the Torah. Okay,
mentioned or not mentioned?
Not mentioned. It's not mefurash in the Torah. Okay, ohalot we have a little bit pesukim, but halachot also is too many. The only difference between these two is basically you are saying one of them has more pesukim. Gemara asks a question: what do you mean more pesukim, less pesukim? Why doesn't it make a difference? It does make a difference, Gemara says. If you have a suffix, when it comes to negaim, you could go check the pesukim. Over there you could find out. When it comes to ohalot, the only way you find out, you have to check the mishnayot. There's no other way. So, maybe you're right. It seems like from here, I made a mistake again. It seems from here, when it says the halachot mu'atot, means you could find out a lot of halachot in the Torah for negaim.
Yeah, then
Right,
that's okay.
right. You're right. You're 100% right. So halachot of the negaim, you could find it from Torah because it's mentioned in depth. When it comes to ohalot, we don't have so many halachot of it in the Torah mentioned, as we see. Therefore, you have to go to Mishnayot to find it. Okay, now I'm not going to go to Kuzari today because I want to mention to you two questions we have yesterday. If you don't mind, David, tonight. We skipped the Kuzari. We want to go back on the question we had last night on the Haravadia and Yakud Yosef. So, first case we mentioned last night, which is Haravadia brings it down over here. What was the first case in Chazon Ovadia? If you washed a cup on Shabbat and a little bit water left in the bottom of the cup, okay? Even though it's mutar to pour water from Keli Rishon on it, and no problem. Okay, that was the Haravadia. Now, we want to find out today what's the logic behind what Haravadia is saying. Of course, when Haravadia says something, he has so many things to rely on that makes a halach. Okay? So, he says over here in the Chazon Ovadia, which is the halacha is from, he says, first of all, I should mention to you, he says, I'm reading you Teshuvah he has. You see how much we could cover up this Teshuvah tonight. He says, according to Ramoshe, if you heard Ramoshe Feinstein before, Ramoshe says, you cannot do it. Because when you pour the water on the tipot, the drops of the water you have inside the cup, those drops is going to get cooked. And we know, how Ramoshe says, Ramoshe Feinstein, the Irui Keli Rishon, when you pour out the water, whatever the food from Keli Rishon, from first Keli, comes out, is going to cook as much as one layer, Kede Kelipa. And is assuming HaTorah. Okay.
We said that's the Ramaz, based on the Ramah.
Why?
You said yesterday, no?
No. Forget that for now. We're not talking about the Ramah here. This Ramah is talking about if it's cold, not cold. That's what we're talking about?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So according to Rav Moshe, what you should do, you need to dry your cup first, and then you pour hot water inside it. Okay? And Haravadia brings a lot of people, they hold like Rav Moshe. Okay? And even you want to tell me, this is what we had a question. Rav Moshe is talking over here. He doesn't have in mind to cook it. It's persecution. What is persecution? It's going to happen anyway. Okay? It's going to be a problem. And even you want to tell me that he doesn't care about it, he says it's going to be Asumi Rabbanan. Okay? And Haravadia wants to say now, I understand, but end of the day is going to be the Rabbanan. Now the question he is asking, we have to explain. Hatam, what's the reason? Sherov ha'olam en medaktekim baze. Most people are not careful about it. Okay, ladies. Now, let's go to the first part, first question, first suffix, and we take it from there. There's a first machloket rishonim. The first machloket in the rishonim, what's the machloket over there? Is irui, pouring out from the keli rishon, cooks or not? This is machloket rishonim. Even though we said we are machmir, it's machloket rishonim. Rishonim has a machloket on this. Even though the Rabbeinu Tam says keli rishon, he cooks as much as one layer. Now, there are other poskim that go like the Rabbeinu Tam, Tosfot, Sefer HaYashar, but Rashbam argues with this opinion. Argues on Rabbeinu Tam. He holds Rashbam, Irui Keli Rishon is like Keli Sheni. Okay? He doesn't cook anything. Good? He brings it the Mekorot, very good one, the Rashbam. Other Rishonim also, they hold that way. Okay? Which Rishonim go to Rabbeinu Tam, which Rishonim go to Rashbam, he brings all the things over here. Okay? So he goes, I'm going to skip this. Which Rishonim, some Rishonim goes this way, some Rishonim that way. Comes out, Rashbam, Baal Haitur, Ramban, Hara'a, Ritva, Meiri, Haran, all of these people, they hold there is no cooking by Irui Keli Rishon. It's like Keli Sheni. Okay? Some they say Rif and Rambam they hold that way. Okay? But Shulchan Aruch, it seems like he goes machmir on it.
Rif and Rambam go like this?
Some they say. Some they say. Not everyone agrees with this. It's not clear what Rif and Rambam holds. Okay? Okay? Okay?
So that's one suffix.
One. Okay? Another thing.
Bishul achar bishul?
No, this is a cold water. This is not cooked. Don't get into that part.
Yeah.
Cold water. Another thing is, Rambam says, Sheyesh shiur lehamevasheret hamayim. There is a shiur. There is a size, how much you are cooking in the water. Okay? Of the water. This doesn't have a shiur. It's nothing. Okay? It's not so much. We're not talking you left this much. You emptied out. Just a little bit wetness or some tipot, some drops left in. Okay?
There's like with the kazait of chametz.
Okay, that's different.
But there's a minimum shiur.
No, that's I don't want to get into it because there is another halacha I mentioned to you very briefly. We say chasi shiur asur min Torah, which means even though on Yom Kippur you don't get, let's say, karet if you don't have kazait, you still did the isur, even though you don't have the shiur. So Rabbi says it doesn't apply over here. I don't want to go into it. It's going to be a little bit complicated. But so far we're saying the Rambam holds that
there's a minimum shiur.
the minimum shiur. Okay, and he goes into it, continues, and he goes further. A few pages he has on this. Okay, and he says, end of the day, it comes out. Some they say, the Rambam, even so chasi shiur is going to be asur, is only the Rabbanan. Okay? It's not going to be the right over here. Now, we have here the Pesik Resha. He put everything together. And basically, he wants to say, with all these heterim all together, Pesik Resha, and the Davar Midarabbanon and everything, and you don't care about it, it's going to be mutar. Okay? But there are those other ones, especially other poskim, they don't agree with this. Especially we said that Ramoshe Feinstein argues with this. I just want to give the quick look. Whoever I could mention his name, that he holds his, he cannot do this. Okay, that's the first one we want to do tonight.
You said yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, suffix feka.
Okay, that's the base.
Not everybody holds that that's okay.
No, I said pesik resha in the isud rabbanan, even though you don't care.
Ben Ish Chai says.
Ben Ish, we're not there yet. So that's I don't think we get there tonight. But I'm going to go to the next case now. Next case is from Yalkut Yosef. Okay, so what's the case?
But Kavod Rav, if Rav Moshe says that it's Derabanan, eventually.
Okay.
You cannot find you couldn't find a Safek, and then Safek Derabanan, then La'atir it?
If you do like Rav, you could, yes.
But he didn't agree.
He didn't go that way. It seems another Rav Moshe, I didn't go into it, another Rav Moshe seems is making. Okay, but there are those that are machmir on this case. But if you have it cooked once, you have better chance. Let's say you finish your... no, you have another suffix now. Because you have those Rishonim, Rambam and others now, that they hold M bishur achad bishur, even though it's cold. Okay? So let's say you finish your tea, then you want to get another tea. Okay? That's going to happen. Your water was cooked already. So you have another over there, another sat to be making. Okay? That's what we're saying over there.
Does the same thing apply if you wash your hand? Let's say you have cholent pot next to the sink, and you wash your hand and it's a little bit splash.
Wouldn't go that far. Whether we would have that part. If you know for sure he's gonna do it, maybe.
But maybe it's now the second case with the steam that you put back.
I'm not talking about that tonight.
No.
Okay. I don't think I'm gonna get that. Second case, I want to talk the maseket. Mutar lichtov kaf lacha. Okay. Remember this case? Mm-hmm. Is you washed it? The tapuach hadamar roteach. Okay.
Isn't it the same time as the other one?
Okay. Let's see. This is the Yakut. Yeah, maybe. I want to see both. Let's see. The Harav Ovadia, that was my ready was Chazon Ovadia. This is Yachud Yosef. It's going to be basically the same thing. Yeah. Let's see. And also, Yachud Yosef have the same case also for when it comes to thing. Harav Yitzchak Yosef, he also brings other poskim, Minchad Yitzchak and others. In the case of the cup, you have to dry it before using it. Okay. Now, what's going to be over here? The Meikar idea is going to be mutar. Now, I should mention something over here that we're going to see later on. There are some poskim they hold there is no keli sheni by davar gush. What is davar gush?
Things related to meat. No.
That's Persian. I'm understanding it. Davar gush means something is solid. Let's say I have a piece of meat, piece of potato. I took it out from keli rishon. I put it in my plate. Now some poskim they hold
that's still keli rishon.
Still consider keli rishon. Why? Because that's not a spread. What's the reason we mentioned before in Tosafot that keli sheni helps you to make something cold, and consider keli sheni doesn't cook anymore?
The keli itself.
That keli itself helps you to become cold. Over here, okay. Now, Haravadi doesn't go that way. By the way, he's making. He also Haravadi held not like in Mishnah Berurah and Ashkenazim and other poskim, not only Ashkenazim, other poskim, also the Machmir, or as Mekel, he understood that we say Keli Sheni by Davar Gush. Okay? Now, over here, let's see how we're going to solve this problem. First case, it doesn't go like Maharshal. Maharshal is the one who says there is no Keli Sheni. Okay? First of all. It does go that one. I don't need that part. Doesn't explain it over here. Let me read you the case one more time. Let's see how you understand it. Mutar litchol kaf lacha letapuach adama roteach. לאחר שכבר אוכל מהתפוח, אוכל אוכל. וכן מותר לסוק מים רותחים מכלי לשון לתוך כוס שיש בו לחוץ של מים, השעולה מן האכסה והחמיא לנגב תחילה את הכף או את הכוס תבוא עליו ברכה.
Oh, he brought it in the same safe?
Right. So you use both. So yeah, according to him, basically, they're both in the same thing. You're going to be probably same